We're learning more about the cost of a recent vacation the Prime Minister took back in April. Justin Trudeau's trip to Montana was just 4 days in length, but CBC News has learned it costs the public much more than the government initially reported. CBC's Elizabeth Thompson has been looking into the story. So, Elizabeth, break this down for us. What was the actual price tag of this trip?
Well, as you mentioned, it was a lot more expensive than Parliament was told. Now, a bit of context here, because when the Prime Minister travels, whether it's on government business or whether it's a private vacation trip or something like that, he doesn't get to just go to the airport and hop on a plane. There's a whole entourage that goes with him. He has to fly by government plane wherever it is that he goes. There are RCMP that go along with him, and there's even a guy from the Privy Council who trots along with him or flies often separately. And his entire job, or a big chunk of his job, is to have these secure communication systems so that the Prime Minister can speak securely with, for example, another world leader if all of a sudden he has to speak with a world leader during his vacation. So a while ago, in June, Conservative MP Luc Berthold put a question on the order paper. That's something that's available to MPs. And he asked how much that Easter weekend trip to Montana had cost. Well, when Parliament resumed sitting, the government answered that question, what we call sometimes order paper questions. And this is what it looks like. Essentially, they said that they reported that the Department of National Defence and the Privy Council had spent $23,846 on the trip. However, they didn't include any costs for the RCMP. So what I did was I asked the RCMP. It took them a couple of weeks to respond. But when the RCMP came back with its answer, it said apparently the trip cost them $204,000. So that makes a total of $228,000. That it's only a long weekend, but it has turned out to be one of the more expensive vacations to Canadian taxpayers that the Prime Minister has taken. By comparison, his trip to the Aga Khans Island, which created so much controversy and ended up with rulings that he had broken government ethics rules, that ended up costing $271,000 for a week. And in December, January of this year, he went to Jamaica to stay at a property there, and that cost about $162,000.
Okay, so some pretty expensive trips. What happens next?
Well, the story seems to have touched a nerve. We're getting a lot of traffic online, and a lot of people who are commenting are basically seeing the ties between the cost of that trip and the difficulties that a lot of Canadians are having right now with rising costs for housing and food. We have yet to see what the opposition will say. That will hopefully come later today. There's also another question out there. Part of the order paper question process is the government is supposed to answer within 45 days, and they are supposed to answer accurately. By not including the cost of the RCMP, which was the biggest tab for that whole trip, did the government mislead the Parliament in its answer? And that can have consequences in Parliament. There are also a lot of unanswered questions still that the Prime Minister's office is not answering. For example, where did he stay in Montana? Who did he meet with? And things like that. And hopefully those answers will come in coming days.
CBC's Elizabeth Thompson in Ottawa, thank you.
Thank you for watching the CBC Manitoba YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. For the latest breaking news and top stories, download the CBC News app.